I'm here to speak about the Freddie Gray situation and the rioting and the protesting that's going on in Baltimore, Maryland, and also to give my viewpoints on what's going on to another YouTuber who posted a video yesterday discussing her thoughts and opinions on the situation. First, I would like to read off of CNN.com to give you guys some of the facts of what's going on. Freddie Gray did not get timely medical care after he was arrested and was not buckled into a seatbelt while being transported in a police van, Baltimore police said Friday. Police Commissioner Anthony Batts told reporters there are no excuses for the fact that Gray was not buckled in as he was transported to a police station. 5 days after Gray's death and amid ongoing protests, police officials acknowledged mistakes were made during and after his arrest. Gray, who was stopped April 12th, after a foot pursuit through several housing complexes, should have received medical attention at the scene of his arrest, said Deputy Police Commissioner Kevin Davis. A witness said the man was yelling and indicating he was having difficulty breathing. I'm going to reread that. A witness said the man was yelling and indicating that he was having difficulty breathing. Isn't it similar to the Eric Gardner situation? Isn't it similar to the man that was accidentally shot with a revolver a couple of weeks ago? Yeah. Batts told reporters in an afternoon news conference, "We know our police employees failed to get him medical attention in a timely manner multiple times. Investigators are trying to learn more about Gray's condition at each of the 3 steps the van made on its way to the police station. At the first stop, Gray was placed in leg irons. The driver stopped a second time to deal with Mr. Gray, and the facts of the interaction are under investigation," Davis said. The van stopped one more time to add a second prisoner. Batts told reporters that at the third stop, an officer saw Gray on the floor of the van asking for medic. The officer and the van driver picked him up and put him on the seat, the commissioner said. When the van arrived at the Western District Station, police called for an ambulance, said Davis, who was in charge of the investigation. An attorney for the Gray family said it was positive news, but there is a more important issue. It is certainly a step toward acknowledging the truth that the police did not follow their own internal regulations, Jason Dons told CNN. Eric Barnett out front. What it does not get at the core of the case, and this is why did Mr. Gray need medical attention in the first place? That's the question that still has not been answered. The developments came 2 days after police union attorneys spoke of the possibility that the injuries occurred during a rough ride, a frequently claimed practice in which police vehicles are deliberately driven in a way that injures suspects. At least 2 suspects have won court cases against the city after being left paralyzed in such rides over the last decade or so, the Baltimore Sun reported Thursday. Gray died Sunday, 1 week after Baltimore police arrested him. At some point, he suffered a severe spinal cord injury. His family said his voice box was crushed and his neck snapped before he slipped into a coma and died. Batts said he had been giving preliminary results of an autopsy on Gray. The medical examiner's full autopsy may take another 30 to 45 days, Batts said, because toxicology tests still need to be examined and spinal experts may be brought in to assess Gray's injuries. The people are demanding immediate arrest, immediate end to the protracted investigation, and immediate end to the stonewalling, said Malik Shabazz, president of Black Lawyers for Justice. But he and other officials vowed the protests would be peaceful, much as they were Thursday night, despite a few scuffles and 2 detentions. So what I'm going to let you guys see all the videos and all this information. Link to this article will be in the description box below. So we have another young African-American male who is killed. His spinal cord was severed. His neck was broke. His voice box was basically destroyed. He slipped into a coma and died. All of this happened while he was in police custody. Okay, 25 years old, and he is dead. He is no longer here. This is an ongoing story and situation in the United States of America and around the world, where people of color are being persecuted, murdered, slaughtered, discriminated against, and oppressed around this country and around this world. This is every single day we are hearing about how someone unarmed, person of color, tends to be African American, is being killed and disrespected and murdered, and the police and the powers that let be, always get away with it. People are fed up. Now, people are rioting. Okay, they're rioting. They're destroying businesses and lighting cars on fire and throwing rocks and objects at the police officers. Keep in mind, the police officers are highly shielded. Okay, they're walking around in full riot gear and they have shields. So let's be honest. A rock being thrown at someone wearing full riot gear and has a shield is really not going to hurt them. So let's stop trying to make it seem like the police are just, in danger because someone threw a rock. Okay? And this is just me. I find it very odd that every time this happens, it's always happening in predominantly black areas, black communities, yet we always have predominantly white police fields and on police officers. It really doesn't make sense to me that you're in a predominantly black area, but you have an all-white police force. I'm just saying, right? I'm also going to speak about the young woman who made a YouTube video yesterday. I'm going to leave a link to her video in the description box. Her name, and I might be pronouncing this wrong, please forgive me for that. I apologize. Her name is Sensei Aishitamazu, and I'm going to leave a link to her video. And she spoke about how frustrated she is and how angry she is at the fact that people of color, particularly African Americans, are being slaughtered and murdered every single day. And it seems like the police, the justice system, the government, nobody cares about black lives. And she may have said some things that were offensive, insensitive. However, when you look at the situation, you can understand why people are upset and are angry. Quite frankly, people are pissed off, and they have every right to be. Speaking as an African American woman, I'm tired of seeing people who look like me be shot and killed and murdered and slaughtered and oppressed. I'm sick of it. Every single time we walk out the door, our lives are put on the line just because of our skin color. Okay? It's ridiculous. So I can personally understand why people are rioting, while people are ticked off. I'm going to also leave this video with a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? Riots are voices of the unheard, end quote. Okay? People have been pushed to the edge. We've tried the peaceful protests. We've tried the boycotts. We've tried the hands up, don't shoot. We've tried the pound Black Lives Matter. We've tried everything. We've tried being respectful and peaceful and loving and turned the other cheek. But guess what? Dr. King was nonviolent and was shot in the neck. He was assassinated and he was nonviolent. Another thing is this whole respectability politics BS that Bill Cosby and many love to talk about. Well, if you pull your pants up, they won't look at you wrong. And if you put your hands out your pockets, and if you don't wear a hoodie, and if you're a female, if you don't dress in these short skirts, maybe you wouldn't be getting raped and molested and sexually assaulted. You're blaming the victim when you pull that respectability politics BS. Because here's another little thing for you. Dr. King, Malcolm X, they both wore suits. And guess what? They're dead. Okay? So we've seen it. We've seen black people be respectful with the police officer only to be pulled out of their cars and beat to death and shot and killed and murdered and slaughtered and oppressed. No matter how respectful and nonviolent they were, they still were killed, murdered, slaughtered, discriminated, and oppressed. So save me with the woulda, coulda, shoulda. The point is, black people, people of color are dying. People are reacting the only way they know how. We tried the justice system. We go through the court process. We get the attorneys and the defense lawyers and, all these litigations just to find out that the police officer is found not guilty, i.e. Rekia Boyd. Last week, the police officer who shot and killed her as she walked down the street was pretty much let go. He got a slap on the wrist. He's free. And guess what? Rekia Boyd died 3 years ago and her family is still suffering. Okay? The same situation to Oscar Grant in 2009. All right? These police officers are getting away with murder. And the justice system and this government is allowing it. Okay? So you can see why some people might be pissed off. People shouldn't have to worry if their kids are going to come home or not. People shouldn't have to worry about their children being gunned down in the streets because they're walking home. Okay, these are serious issues that are affecting people of color, not only in this country, but around the world. I just had to make a video. Another thing, and this is probably going to be a separate video when I talk about this a little more in depth, but another thing, if you don't like what people post on their own social media websites, I suggest you unfollow, you block, you unfriend, you move on. Because I'm not about to have a comment box war debate with you. I have a life. I assume you have one, but maybe you don't because you spend all your times disagreeing with people just to get a roar. I don't have time for it. Deuces. And I'm going to say this. Pound Black Lives Matter. Pound trans lives matter. Pound women lives matter. Pound lower income lives matter. All of our lives matter. That is very true. However, we put emphasis on Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, Gay Lives Matter, etc. Examples just for you to know. Because we are being slaughtered. We are being murdered, killed, tortured, persecuted, discriminated against, and oppressed. If all lives matter, then actually show that and live that and stop killing us, stop oppressing us, stop discriminating against us, and treat us like all lives matter. That's another thing. I'm so sick of you people coming in here, oh, all lives matter, and you guys are trying to make it a race thing. It's really ironic that every day you turn around, there's a black person unarmed being shot and killed. Okay? I'm sorry. And that's another thing. On another topic, your boy, John Holmes, who shot and killed 12 people in Colorado in 2012 at a movie theater and injured 70 more people, did he get shot and killed by the police? No. They calmly went in and arrested him. They didn't shoot and kill him after he done killed all these people and injured a whole bunch of more. He didn't get murdered and slaughtered. In fact, he's in court right now pleading insanity. Yeah, that's what white privilege is. When you can plead insanity after you murdered and slaughtered people. That's white privilege right there. Anyways, I'm just going to be honest. I don't want to see people being murdered, slaughtered. I don't want to see riots and protests and violence. But at the same time, I understand where people are coming from. I would love to see us come together as a people, as a nation, as a society, as a world, and work together to end these issues that we're dealing with. I would love to see that. But realistically speaking, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Okay? And that's just the way it is, unfortunately. Anyways, I'm going to leave the link to her video and a link to the CNN article in the description box below. Yeah, I'm fed up. And also to leave you with another quote from Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.